and welcome back to another wonderful episode of Get a Life. Of course, Get a Life is all about connecting your mind, body and soul and being the best version of you. On this episode, we've got the wonderful Tiffany Hall teaching us some ninja style tricks in Taekwondo. We've got Craig Harper with some life lessons, Dayhab with Mick Hall, the Kuving's wonderful juices and Slim Secrets, plus a lot more. Now, while you're considering this fabulous episode, I'm going to meditate with my wonderful friend behind me. See you soon.
Hi, I'm Tiff Hall, founder of TiffXO.com, and I'm here today with Luke Atkins from Hall's Taekwondo. We're both martial arts experts and 6 Dan black belts in Taekwondo, and we want to start by discussing what is self-defense and personal safety.
Yeah, so for me, personal safety really breaks up into 2 areas. First of all, we want to prevent the situation from happening, and if we can't prevent the situation from happening, then we have to think about what can we do to defend ourselves as far as self-defense goes. Preventing a situation is really thinking about how am I physically placed inside the greater world. If someone looks to me and thinks to themselves, is this person going to be a good person to attack? Do I show a perception of strength, awareness, and things like this? And in particular, awareness. So things like having earphones in your ears when you're running. It's not about whether you can hear a person coming up behind you or not. It's the fact that the person chose you to start running behind.
So you look vulnerable.
That's right. We don't want to have that vulnerability. We want to always have a perception of really strong situational awareness that someone couldn't sneak up on us and actually catch us. But if we find ourselves in a situation, unluckily or otherwise, that someone is coming to attack us, we can't prevent it, it is just going to happen. Then we focus on what we call, as soon as possible, get safe. And each one of the letters in that is actually a bit of an acronym focusing on how do we deal with this situation. ASAP deals with what you should do with your voice. How can we project the help out into the community so that we can get help straight away? The GET, the get, is what do we hit on the body? Lastly, we think about safe, that is, what do we do after the situation? How do we heal emotionally? How do we get support networks around us? Now, what we're going to dive a little bit deeper into is get. So we're going to go for the G, groin, E, eyes, and T, throat. So when we're thinking about the groin, of course, it's this distance that's first. If I'm closer to you, you might use a knee. If I'm further away, you might kick, a front kick. And then we think about the eyes, and that is really single finger, 2 fingers, 3 fingers, whatever it takes. There's no doubt that that's going to hurt you. But it's better to take a little bit of pain and stop this person than whatever's going to happen.
It's a really simple principle of hard weapon, soft targets. So the get targets are soft targets on the body. And your body is made up of hard weapons, okay? Your knee, even a finger, hard finger to a soft eyeball will be effective.
And the punch is a perfect example of that. So most people end up punching to the face. And of course your face is really strong and it's got a lot of bone structure that's really quite thick, and it ends up hurting your hands. But if we take that punch and we don't put it to the face, instead we put it to the throat, someone who is much bigger will go down from someone who is much smaller. So GET, groin, eyes and throat. It doesn't even matter how you hit as long as you hit with a little bit of power.
So can you show me, like, for example, if someone were to grab me in a way like throat, how do you apply it?
Most of the attacks end up coming from forward, and it might be a really violent one. I could be grabbing you in any way, or it could be just something that's really making you uncomfortable. So from this position, you've got a lot of opportunities here because I'm in range. So at this point, you might go for the eye, which is going to send my head back, then you might follow up with the groin, and then if you hit properly in those areas and you don't even have to hit that hard, you can be out of there like lightning.
And with the groin, I just have to add, you don't want to push in, you want to push in and up, okay?
Okay, so why don't we look at that on some of the focus pads now. So if we think about it, this is nice and soft. It's pretty much exactly the way my throat would be. If I came into the range and you knew that this was going to be a bad situation, straight away you could punch out with your body straight into the throat. And if you hit with that power into my throat, it's definitely going to do some serious damage. In a similar way, if I'm at a distance, you can kick straight up underneath, bang. And the key and the difficulty in this and the skill in this is actually not giving away the fact that you're going to do it.
Can I just add, you don't want to put your guard up if someone's coming into your personal space, because it can look aggressive or it could give away that you have martial arts training. So always put your hands up, try and talk them down, but when your hands are up, you still have available to you strikes, and also they're looking here, and so it's easier to to strike low without telegraphing.
So if Tiffany was at that position right there, her hands are up, I'm moving closer to her straight away, she can go for the bottom, straight underneath.
And run.
And run as fast as we can. And so to sum it all up, what we really want you to focus on is preventing the situation. If unfortunately you can't get away, as soon as possible get out. Think about GET. Where do we want to hit this person so we can get out of there as fast as we can? Groin, eyes and throat.
These tips will help you, but if you want to study martial arts seriously, go to Hall's Taekwondo, study with Luke. He is the best. This is just a taste of some of the self-defense lessons we teach at tifexo.com, so we hope that it helps, and keep that GET at the front of your mind.
Over the past few weeks, we've been exploring how you can make good decisions when it comes to snacking. Back with me is Sharon, the founder of Slim Secrets, to tell us a little bit more about your products and what you offer.
Our philosophy at Slim Secrets is not about extreme dieting, but it's finding healthier ways to have everything. And it launched 10 years ago because I just saw a gap in the market for nutritionally balanced snacks that actually tasted good as well. And just thought this was going to be a good idea, and
it's turned out to be a fantastic idea because now you're selling all over the world, because women in Australia and men in Australia are no different than people around the world. We all want healthy, nutritious snacks that taste good.
Absolutely, and also fill you up as well, which is important.
So we're in the gym today because fitness and nutrition, they really go hand in hand, don't they?
Why would you work out and look after your body if you're not going to fuel it with the right foods? So very important.
And what are those right foods? What should we be putting into our body post a workout?
Protein is one of the main elements that every person needs to maintain a healthy, active body. It helps speed recovery after exercise, reduces muscle loss, it builds lean muscle, helps to maintain a healthy weight, and very importantly helps to make you feel full and satisfied longer and help curb those cravings.
And you have several different products available that do exactly that. They meet different needs for different people.
We do. We try and have a broad range of product offerings so that we give choice to people. We've got protein bars, fit balls, fit and fab bars, protein puddings, all easy and convenient so that straight after a workout they can get that protein hit and fuel their bodies.
And quite conveniently, because not often do you finish a workout and go, oh, let me just fry up a steak so I can get my 15 grams of protein.
Definitely not. We don't carry the barbecue in our gym bag, or certainly no steaks. So yeah, it's they're convenient. We actually sell our products in a lot of gyms as well because of that convenience element, and straight after a workout it really is important to get that protein.
I think sometimes people are a little bit afraid of protein because in the past they've maybe had a shake that didn't taste very great, or they had a bar that was the texture of cardboard. How do yours differ?
Well, it's very important to us that good nutrition should also taste delicious, because if it doesn't taste good, you might have it the first time, but you certainly won't go back to it. So we just want people to fuel their bodies with the right foods, especially after a workout, and encourage them by having products that actually taste good as well as being very balanced.
Yeah, and some of your flavors sound absolutely delicious.
Well, we've got, for example, one of our shakes is a caramel latte, which is a very popular one. But our pudding, our salted caramel pudding, is flying off the shelves because everyone wants that indulgent dessert sort of flavouring. So we really listen to our consumers as to
salted caramel. Are you telling me that I can have a little salted caramel after a workout and it's actually doing my body good?
Without a doubt. It actually gets our puds get 5-star health rating, which is the highest health star rating.
Oh, I can't wait to try one of those.
Yep.
Sharon, thank you so much for being with us. For more information on any of the products from the Slim Secret range, you can head to slimsecrets.com.au or head to getalife.tv and follow the links on our website. In the meantime, I think I might go check out one of those salted caramel puddings.
It's always good to know that we've got the answer to snacking with Slim Secrets, because it's so easy to just pick up a bag of chips or something naughty and then you've made the mistake and it's too late. So if you've got the answer there and it's ready, you can't go wrong. Now let's see what's next with the Coovings.
Hey guys, I'm Jules. Thanks so much for joining me again in my Coovings kitchen today. I've got a recipe a little bit different to our usual ones. Tell me, how would you like to make your whole family delicious, creamy, decadent sorbet desserts and know exactly what's in them? And do it all with the Coovings C7000. It's so super easy because this machine actually comes with a sorbet and smoothie maker. So all you need is a couple of frozen fruits and you can make sorbet like that. What I'm gonna add in today is some frozen bananas. I just freeze them overnight, then pull them out for about 5 minutes. We've got some frozen blueberries, but of course you can use any frozen fruit at all that you like. And what actually happens is the machine blends them all together and actually makes a creamy, decadent sorbet, and you know exactly what's in it. I'm not going to add any sugar. I'm not going to add any dairy. I'm going to cream it up with some coconut water, which is really hydrating. And we're going to end up with a healthy sorbet the whole family will love, which is full of antioxidants. And you're actually going to want to keep going back for more and more and more. I've got the whole crew here putting their hand up. I'm trying this one, they've said. Oh my goodness, yum! How good does that look? And the machine did all the work for me. That was so quick and easy. Guys, I'm sorry, I'm just going to have to try this first. Yum, thick, creamy. Taste test time. Oh. So good. If you want a sweeter sorbet, use really ripe fruit before you freeze them and you'll get a really sweet sorbet. Sorry guys. So good. Hey, if you want to win one of these, you can. All you need to do is hop onto our website, getalife.tv, and you could enter our Great Juicer giveaway competition and you could win one of these awesome Coovings juices. You know what? It always tastes better with a Coovings.
Those Coovings juices really can do it all, and as usual, looks delicious. Next up, we're going to be battling addiction at Dayhab.
And I decided, I know what I'll do, I'll jump off the bridge instead. See, part of the insanity of addiction is that you continue to use and drink despite negative consequences.
Hey guys, I'm Craig Harper chatting with Mick Hall from Dayhab. So Michael, we've opened a few doors, let's open another one. We chatted briefly, we got a snapshot of your story earlier.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the moment, because I think this is part of the lesson for the rest of us, but let's talk about the moment when you were actually genuinely ready for real, once and for all, to change your life. So the turning point for you from being using addict, in denial and telling yourself and everyone lies, to the guy who literally turned his life and his health and his body around.
Yeah, okay. It's a really, it's a pretty deep story, that one, but it's certainly one worth telling.
Yeah.
I got released from my last prison sentence up in Queensland, and it was terrible. I spent the whole time in maximum security. And when I got out, while I was there, I stayed clean and sober. Yeah. So if just removing the substances was enough, then I should have been okay.
Yeah, that's a great story, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it? Because like you didn't have access to the things you would have liked to have access to.
That's right.
So you didn't use.
Correct.
So everyone will go, wow, you recovered.
He's okay then.
Yeah.
And I wasn't. So now I vowed and professed, and I was determined to never use or drink again, ever, because I knew what had put me there.
Yeah.
And it was my first taste, I guess, in one sense, of real, true sobriety, in that I hadn't used or drank.
For how long-ish?
Well, we'll just say it was well over a year.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
So I was going all right in that respect, but I got released on a Friday afternoon, and as I got released, they let me through the little steel door on the side of the prison, and as I got released, I was walking through that doorway, I could taste alcohol in my mouth, and within 1 hour, I had a bottle of beer going down my neck, and within 2 weeks I had a needle of heroin back in my arm. And for me, that was the beginning of the end. The dots all started to come together, and I started to realise and accept the true nature of and the true predicament that I was in. You know, anyone would have thought that I would have seen it beforehand, and you do, but not at the level that you need to, or that I needed to see it at. And so it was after that that I'd made my way back to Melbourne, and I'd started using heroin again. My family were just absolutely distraught. They would have nothing to do with me. And I was using with a guy in an abandoned building in the city in Melbourne, and we used, and he used first, and he dropped. He overdosed, and I revived him. He got up. I had my hit, and he must have left, and I dropped, and I overdosed. And as I naturally came out of it, which is, you know, like 1 in a million shot.
Wow.
But I naturally came out of it. And as I got up, I'm in this abandoned building, and there was this old dressing table with a mirror on it, and the mirror was broken. And as I got up and stood and I looked in this mirror, and all of my lips were blue from lack of oxygen, and my eyes were blue. And what I saw looking back at me was a dead man. I saw a dead man looking back at me, and that just shattered me and rattled me to the core. I had already had no front teeth. I had them all bashed out. My face was smashed up. I had hepatitis C. I tried to kill myself by jumping off a bridge onto the Monash freeway, so I had a smashed up leg. You know, I was gone for all money, and it was there that I started to cry. As I saw myself in the mirror, I actually saw a dead man. I had a daughter that I had essentially abandoned when she was 1. You know, it was a terrible, and all of the realities of my life and the truth hit me in that moment.
Wow.
For me, that's the point, you know, and that's not exactly where I got well, but that's the beginning.
Addiction destroys lives and shatters families.
Hi, I'm Craig Harper, Director of Wellness at Dayhab Addiction Treatment Centre. We all understand the destructive nature of addiction, but the great news is that when surrounded by the best resources and people, recovery, transformation and happiness are all possible. I've seen bodies healed, relationships restored and lives changed. Dayhab's residential rehab program offers recovery, help and hope every step of the way.
Now, if you're battling addiction or anyone you know is battling addiction, Dayhab could be the answer to your problems. Now, next up, we've got the very infamous Craig Harper giving us some of his wonderful life tips.
Hi guys, thanks for taking the time to have a listen and a watch. So for the last bunch of weeks, we've been talking about creating better results on Planet You. We've spoken about lots of practical things. Today, I want to talk to you a little bit about attitude and a little bit about the way that you think, the stories that you tell yourself. We touched on that last week, but I want you to understand or consider the fact that the way that you think is only the way that you think, right? There's, 7.4 billion people on the planet, and I think the only person that thinks like me 24/7 is me. The only person that thinks like you 24/7 is you. There's another thing that we do quite a lot, which is overthinking, which usually is because of fear and usually produces anxiety. So it's really in our interest to try to figure out, how do I manage my mind really well? How do I find, or how do I create an attitude which is going to serve me rather than sabotage me? And what we tend to do quite often is, if somebody comes up to us today and says one negative thing, or one perhaps not super positive thing, but we've had 20 other people come up through the day and say, hey, by the way, you're awesome. Which of those comments do you think is going to impact on you the most? And yes, it's the negative one. Why? Because we tend to obsess about and focus on and be affected by negative stuff more than positive stuff. So we have the opportunity to be able to go, well, how do I think better? Now, it's a funny kind of question, because we don't think about our thinking much. So there's an area of science called metacognition, which is thinking about thinking. And it's really important to understand that the way that we think is optional. However, it's not something that we can change quickly, because most of us have been trained and programmed and indoctrinated and impacted and influenced by people and situations and schools and churches and all of those things around us for a long time. But the good news is that it is possible to become a glass half full person if you've been a glass half empty person. So I want you to start to ask a few questions when you're doing things where you find something that's a problem. You go, well, there's a thing called reframing. So is there another way to look at this? Well, this happened. It seems like a catastrophe, but hang on, could it be something else? What if I look at it from over here rather than here? What if I ask myself a different question? What if I say, instead of saying, why did this happen to me? What if I said, why did this happen to me is a self-pity based question where I'm feeling sorry for myself, I want attention or I want sympathy. What if I said, wow, this is interesting. Why did this happen? Or what can I learn here? Or what can I do about it? Or how do I use this to create a catalyst for growth for me? So we have the option of asking better questions, of reframing things so that they have less power on a negative level, so we can put ourselves in a more creative and solution-focused headspace. So when something happens in the next day or week, just as a trial or as something to practice, try to hit the pause button before you react and say, is there another way to look at this? Is there a way to reframe this? Is there something that I could learn here? Because most of the time there is. And also keep in mind that once something's happened, it's happened. If something happens, we can't unhappen it. It's already done. So what matters in that moment is what I do about it. What questions I ask myself and how I react moving forward. See you next time.
Thanks, Craig, for your wonderful words of wisdom every single week and for helping us find our true identity. Next up, we're going to go see the kids at Jimbaroo.
It's lovely to chat today, and as an expert in the area of early childhood development and as someone who's developed an assessment program that helps parents understand their child's development and to look for things that maybe are not quite right and they're a little bit concerned and who to go to and who to see, I thought that you'd be a great person to speak with today, and I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you do.
I teach residents and community providers, nurses, how to communicate effectively with parents. We identify parents who really need parenting advice. You have to have a license to drive, a license to be married, but you don't have to have a license to raise children. And it means none of us are trained to do the most important job in our entire lives. The program is great for letting parents get exposure to a professional who can advise them, train them, and for parents to become peer support and learn from each other.
Our program is really designed to help parents. I mean, that is the key, one of the key fundamentals to what we're doing. And motor skills just seem to be the absolutely baseline thing that most children are missing.
I agree. And when you look at 5-year-old classrooms, it's kindergarten in America, a lot of it is motor. You know, you are expected to trace and draw. And if you don't have good trapezial strength, grip, exposure to pincer grasp, you're going to have a hard time in kindergarten, and we shouldn't have to be teaching sort of this basic stuff. We want kids to come in well-rounded, strong, active, ideally able to pay attention, interested in things. Programs like Sesame Street have a great outcome if you look at it, but the kids are still sitting on the couch. So what we want to see is something far more active. The program really brings together emphasis on all aspects of development, but emphasizes movement that's so critical to all the other aspects of how we learn and grow and write and draw and express ourselves.
When you visited the Gymboree program here in Australia, what was it about it that impressed you so much?
One of the things that impressed me about Gymboree was that there were diverse activities. There was reading and singing and dancing and movement, and fathers were engaged as well, which is rare to see in a parent-child interaction training program.
Brings us to the end of another fabulous episode of Get a Life. Make sure you get outdoors, get moving this week, and enjoy life for what it is. Stay balanced, stay healthy, and we'll see you again next week. See you later.